Hello, welcome to November's Nordic Stories from the Seattle National Nordic Museum. My name is Miss Sara. We'll be sharing stories together on the first Thursday of every month. I hope that you've received your calendar of events for November, December from the museum. And this is a special Finnish edition. And we will be reading this book, Moomin and the Birthday Button. Our country this month is Finland, and in Finland there are two official languages, Finnish and Swedish. About 92% of Finns speak Finnish, but there's approximately about 5% who speak Swedish. And then there are also other languages, including Sami, Romani, and Karelian. So we thought because the author of the Moomin Troll books, Tove Jansson, was a Swedish-speaking Finn, we would learn some words in Swedish this month. Now next month, we will also feature Finland for our story, a Finnish author-illustrator, and so we will be learning some Finnish words next month. So that way we'll get both of those languages in. Hello, this is Stella, and Stella is here to teach us a few words in Swedish to go with our Moomin Troll book this month. So first we're going to learn how to say hello. How do you say hello in Swedish, Stella?
Hey.
Hey. Can you say it at home? Okay. Now, how are you?
Hur mår du?
Hur mår du? Very good. Can you all hear how Stella, can you say hur again? Hur?
Hur.
Hur. So sometimes you have to stick your tongue to the front of your teeth. See if you can practice that at home. It's tricky. It takes some practice. Okay, good. Now, Stella, how do you say button in Swedish?
Knapp.
Knapp. Knapp. I like that. It sounds like the sound a button makes. Knapp. All right. Now, because Moomin Troll has a birthday in the book, how would you say happy birthday in Swedish?
Grattis på födelsedagen.
Okay, let's break that down into the first two words.
Grattis.
Grattis.
På. Födelsedagen.
Födelsedagen. Wow, I like that. That sounds a lot longer than happy birthday. And Stella was saying that the birthday song in Swedish is a little different than just saying happy birthday. So yeah, good to know. All right, so our last one is just going to be saying goodbye and thank you.
Hej då och tack så mycket.
Hej då och tack
Så mycket.
Mycket. All right. Bye. Thanks, Stella. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Now we're ready for the story, but before I read, let's look at some of the characters. Do you know who this is? Moomin Troll. Moomin Troll is the star of every story in the Moomin series. How about this character? Moomin Papa. You can always tell by his hat. Well, if that's Moomin Papa, who is this? Moomin Mama. So there she is with her purse. And looks like she's got some berries that she's putting in Papa's hat. And this character, Snufkin. And then, do you know this character? She's called Snark Maiden. Snark Maiden, and she has a little bit of hair and a bracelet on her ankle, which would be an anklet, and usually also has some flowers in her hair. What about this character? Little Mai or Pikumu? This is a copy of one of the first Moomin Troll books. Originally, Tove Jansson published a comic series that was in the newspaper featuring Moomin Troll, and this was published in 1945, The Moomins and the Great Flood, and you can see how the characters began and also how her illustration evolved over time with the different characters and the way that Moomin Troll looked in the beginning. If you can see, Moomin's snout was much longer in the early days. And then, of course, her books were published in many languages all around the world, and we have different versions available, and there's even a Moomin world that you can go to in Finland that's like a Disneyland with all the Moomin characters, and it's taken off all these years later. So we are very grateful for her work and sparking all of our imaginations in this magical world of Moomin Valley. So now let's read the book, Moomin and the Birthday Button. Moomin and the Birthday Button by Tove Jansson. The moon faded, the sun rose, and morning came to Moomin Valley. Snug in his bed, in the Moomin house, Moomin Troll woke up. Can you open your eyes? He yawned once and stretched twice. Can you stretch? And then he remembered. Pew! It's my birthday! Downstairs, Moomin Mama and Moomin Papa were having breakfast. They called out, "Happy birthday, Moomin Troll!" There was a card from Moomin Papa with a birthday poem that he had written and a beautiful button from Moomin Mama for his collection. "Oh, it's so perfect and shiny," said Moomin. "I'm going to show it to Snufkin right away." Snufkin was down by the river. He was busy making something out of wood. Moomin called out, "Snufkin, look what I've got!" But Snufkin didn't even look up. "I'll look later," he mumbled. "I'm really terribly busy right now." Moomin Troll was surprised. "I'll go show Snark Maiden instead," he thought. "She won't be too busy." On his way to find Snark Maiden, he bumped into Sniff. "Hello, Sniff," said Moomin. "Look what I've got." But Sniff didn't look up either. Sorry, Moomin Troll, I'm too busy. I can't stop." How odd that Sniff is too busy too, thought Moomin. But I know Snark Maiden will like my button. And he hurried on his way. Snark Maiden was at the beach collecting shells. She seemed to be having a lot of fun with little Mai, who was draping herself with seaweed. But Snark Maiden didn't answer. "Snark Maiden! Little Mai, look what I've got!" Little Mai danced about and shouted, Oh, very busy. We're very busy, Moomin Troll. Do not disturb us. Moomin couldn't believe his ears. Nobody wants to see my new button, he thought. And nobody even has a happy birthday. He stomped back through the woods. Can you put down your feet? Stomp, 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 stomp. And by the time he reached home, he was nearly in tears. When Moomin Mama saw Moomin Troll, she knew at once that something was wrong. Nobody cares about my new button or my birthday, said Moomin. They're all too busy, even Snark Maiden. Don't be sad, said Moomin Mama. I'm sure they didn't mean to be unkind. Now, let's get things ready for your birthday party. Moomin cheered up a little as he watched Moomin Mama decorate his birthday cake, but he was still cross. Whoa, look at that cake. They're probably too busy to come, he said. I don't even care. But he did, really. Then all of a sudden he heard voices calling him. Moomin Troll, come outside. Come and look what we've got. Moomin Troll rushed out the door, and there were all his friends. Snark Maiden, Sniff. Okay, where's Snark Maiden? Sniff, Little My, and Snuffkin. Sniff was holding a present, which was very badly wrapped in seaweed. This is for you from all of us, he said. Moomin could have burst with happiness. They hadn't forgotten his birthday after all. He unwrapped the present, and inside was a beautiful wooden treasure chest decorated with pebbles and shells. Snuffkin made it, and I chose the shells, said Snark Maiden. The pebbles are my very favorite ones that I've ever found, said Sniff. I nearly kept them for myself. And I wrapped it, said Little My. The sun set, and the moon rose, and night fell over Moomin Valley. Moomin Troll and his friends sang birthday songs and danced until they were all tired out and ready for bed. Nighty-night, my little Moomin Troll, said Moomin Mama. Good night, Mama, said Moomin. But before he closed his eyes, Moomin had one last peek at the shiny new button, glinting in his very special treasure chest. Happy birthday, Moomin Troll, he whispered to himself as he drifted off to sleep. And that is the end. Oh, Moomin and the birthday button. Yay! And there are more Moomin Troll stories that are in a picture book version. So we'll share them maybe over the course of the year, or you can look them up for yourself. And now I am going to show you a special craft that you can make out of white socks and rice to create a cozy Moomin that is about this tall and that you can put in your microwave to heat up and hug to keep you warm this winter. Welcome to the craft portion of this month's Nordic Stories for this month, we're making a Moomin Cozy that is made out of white socks. So you'll need a pair of white socks. It doesn't matter if they maybe have a little design because you can cut that part off, but as long as the majority of the socks are white, and then maybe a picture that you can look at of a Moomin Troll so you can see the different parts, scissors, some kind of maybe cotton thread to tie your sock closed, or you might use white sewing thread. If you want, for the face, you can use either something easy like a Sharpie to draw on your sock, or you could do some embroidery. If you had some thick thread or yarn, you might use that. And then you'll need rice to fill your sock with. So these are all the things that you'll need. So now you'll see that I've filled my sock with the rice, and I actually, to make it easy, made it just a paper funnel by just taping a piece of paper into a funnel shape and kind of leaving a big opening at the bottom to help fill this with rice and not have it go everywhere. And then I'm kind of looking at the body of Moomin Troll, and so this part would be the body, the top of the sock would be the head, so you can see how I'm starting to shape it. And then I took this white thread, or you could use yarn or any kind of thicker kind of thread, and looped it many times and tied it with the double knot so nothing's going to leak out. And then I'm going to cut off this excess, because this extra part of the sock, you're going to be able to use some of this for some arms and some little legs. And then your extra sock you can be using to make the tail of Moomin Troll. So now that I've cut that extra part off, I'm just going to poke it inside, and it's going to be part of the base of Moomin Troll, and you won't even see it. So that part will be the bottom. And you can start to see how this is looking like a Moomin Troll body. Okay, so now let's think about making the arms, the legs, ears, and a tail. So with your extra pieces from your sock, I cut off this section to make a tail. And I actually have a sewing machine, so I did sew it down one side and across the bottom, and then snipped it to make these tassels. And then I kind of made it as long as it seemed like a Moomin Troll tail would look like. If you don't have a sewing machine, you can still do this, and you'll just have it be a single piece of sock, and it'll still look good. And then what you will need to do, though, is attach it onto your Moomin Troll. So all these different pieces, I would recommend sewing with needle and thread if you're going to be putting your Moomin Troll in the microwave to make it cozy and warm. You could use hot glue to attach if you're not going to be microwaving your Moomin Troll, but definitely if you're putting it in the microwave, hot glue is not a good idea. So sew on the pieces. This could be a great project you do with your big person, so they can teach you a couple simple whip stitches to whip stitch those on, and I'll show you those in a moment. And then as far as the arms and the legs, you're just going to cut out little oval shapes, and those will be what you're going to use to attach. And make it be freeform. It doesn't have to have a pattern. You can just guess it's kind of like a little oblong shape is going to be the arm. We won't do fingers because we'll just do little arms. So almost like two little flaps. And then the ears will be pointy. And then legs would be something that would just be coming out the bottom, and those will be really easy flat things to make. So I'm going to make those and now show you those next. I'm going to show you how I'm cutting the ears. So I'm just taking out a piece and thinking about how a Moomin Troll ear would probably curve inward. And let's break this off and see how that worked out, and then we'll sew it on like that, and it'll look like an ear. So I took it out of this piece of the sock where the sock ribbing curves inward. So that's how you can make your ear. And then for the arms, I'm going to go over to the other side of the sock and take this side of the sock. And actually in my sock, it's an extra fluffy part of the sock because it was a lined sock. So that'll make my arms even nice and puffy. And I'm going to use this so that I don't have to sew on one side. And the arms will probably be about that long. And again, like, you can even cut them shorter if they end up looking too long once you get it on your Moomin Troll. Okay, and one of them might be shorter than the other. And then I'm going to cut it about here. So it's like that. And then I'll cut my other one. Remember that when you're making art and crafts, perfection is not your goal. What you're doing is you're actually making something that is a reflection of you interpreting a character. And your character is going to look different than my character. And you know what? Sometimes there's really no pattern. So you're just going off of what you have. So there, that's what I've got. And you know what? If they're not long enough, look, I can fold them the other direction. And then I've got 2 pairs of longer arms, and maybe those look about right. So again, like, you end up improvising a lot when you make arts and crafts. So I encourage you to not be worried about things being perfect and to make your own kind of creation. You can even decide that you want to flip it around and that you like the textured on the outside. Maybe you want the arms to look different than the body. So, you know, see what you think. All right, so I've got 2 arms. I've got these 2 ears. I've got a tail. So now I'm going to do the legs, and I'm going to just do them the same way as I did the arms, but maybe make them a little shorter, and I'll take them out of the sock from probably right here. So look how much of this we're actually using. We're recycling 2 pairs of socks into a Moomin Troll. Now for the foot, I actually decided to use the ribbed part because I thought that might be a good contrast. And here's a trick: if you're cutting out 2 pieces, use the piece that you already cut as a pattern for your next cut. So then you've got 2 that are almost identical. So that's the feet. And then for the feet, I'll probably put a little bit of rice inside them. And I will sew around these edges. And again, you could do that on a sewing machine, or you could do it by hand, so that it actually might give a little stability to your Moomin Troll when it's standing up, because this is something you can have on your shelf as a decoration. And then when you want to heat it up and have it as a cozy, you can put it in the microwave. So now I'm going to show you how to attach a couple stitches at the side to create Moomin Troll's neck, and see how I attached the ear. So on this other side, I'll show you what you'll do is you'll just fold your sock where it seems natural to make a little neck, just like here. And with some white thread, you'll just do a couple whip stitches. So you'll just bring it in, and you're just going to make some holding stitches that will keep this in place. And most of the time, your Moomin Troll will probably be sitting on a shelf. If anything happens, though, I mean, the worst case scenario is it'll fall like that. But once you have a couple stitches on both sides, it's going to stay in place and look like a Moomin Troll. And then with the ear, remember I cut the ribbed part of the sock so that it kind of creates a natural angle to the ear. And then I just find where it looks right on Moomin Troll's head, or this could be Snark Maiden, or it could be Moomin Mama or Moomin Papa. And then I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to whip stitch it right into place on the head. So that's how we do a couple stitches to get the head form going. Now you can start to see that the Moomin Troll is almost done, and it is looking like a Moomin Troll. So I'll just show you really quickly how to do the whip stitch for the feet. so that you can know how to attach everything else. It's the same thing I did for the arms and the tail. So first you take whatever little object you're going to sew on. Make sure you can see. And I do just a first stitch through it. And then I find the spot where I'm going to attach it on the body. And I just lay it down. And then I'm just going to gather a little material from the body and run my needle right through the foot or whatever you're attaching, and you're just making loops. So this is called a whip stitch, and it's how you attach things on to another object when you're sewing. And with a little practice, it'll come super easy to you. I'll take it a little closer so you can see. You just grab a bit of the material and come through, and then pull it into a loop. And when you get to the end of whatever you're attaching on that single line, you'll just maybe go back one more time to make sure that it's quite secure, and then go through. I'll show you how to make a knot. You just make your stitch like you would normally, like a loop. And then you take your needle through the thread to make one knot, and then another time to make a double knot. And then when you run that and pull it tight, that last stitch will end up being secure. So that's how you know that it won't fall off when you're done. Remember, this is where we tied off the Moomin Troll in the first place, and so that becomes the feet. And amazingly, you will see that you have created an authentic Moomin Troll out of a white sock. And then at the very end, we'll do some decorating with the face. And then at that point, you can decide maybe if this is just going to be a decoration, it'll sit on the shelf and you could put flowers. For Snark Maiden, you could make a Moomin Mama with a little purse and also a little bit of hair on top if it's Snark Maiden. But if it's Moomin Troll, guess what? You're pretty much done. All you need are some eyes. And now you can see the finished result of our Moomin Troll sock cozy. And this is filled with rice, so you can actually kind of squish Moomin Troll and move Moomin Troll around. Again, you could decorate this more. You could make it be Snark Maiden by putting on a little bracelet. It depends on if you want to be able to put Moomin Troll in the microwave. I would start by just putting Moomin Troll in, as long as there's nothing that you've glued on and you've sewed everything on just with thread. You could put it in the microwave for about 30 seconds and take it out and feel how warm it is. Try another 30 seconds. Maybe a minute or two would be the maximum, but you'll actually feel that Moomin Troll will give off heat because inside there's rice, and when rice gets warmed up in the microwave, it releases moisture and warmth. So this will be a cozy little Moomin Troll for you to have this winter. And it wasn't that hard to make. All you needed was 2 white socks and all the steps that we did together to create your own Moomin Troll. All right, goodbye everyone. We'll see you next month when we will also feature another story with an author illustrator from Finland, and that one will star Santa Claus. Bye, thanks for watching.